from the lovely researchers over at OpenAI who brought us the wonderful DALL-E 2, which, if you don't know, was the AI that was behind all of those image generators. We have a new toy to play with in the name of ChatGPT. Essentially just a very, very, very smart chatbot that aims to talk to a person, but specifically with a focus on making it sound like a natural conversation in a dialogue sense. Now, this conversational AI is very similar to another model, InstructGPT, which was more for an instructional-based approach of conversing with somebody. This ChatGPT model was recently made public for about, we don't know how long actually. It's available for free during this open research for feedback and stuff like that. So we don't know how long it's going to last, but I figured may as well get it while we still can. And boy oh boy, people are going crazy with it. It's more than just a conversation, you know, something that you can just mess around with and fake a friendly chat with somebody. It can debug code, which is crazy. I've seen instances where this can write code itself as well. It can parse difficult code like this, and it can actually read it and understand it and say what a possible error is and even how to fix it. Stack Overflow is going to be quaking in their boots. Why couldn't they have released this earlier in the year when I was working on different coding projects of my own? Beyond that, it can even do like complex science and math stuff like that. For example, here we have Fermat's little theorem. I don't even know what that is, but it can explain to me. I actually have never heard of this. Let's just see what it is. Fermat's little theorem states that if p is a prime number and a is an integer not divisible by p, then a to the power of p is congruent to a modulo p. I don't know what any of that means, and I'm an engineering student. That's crazy. So I figured let's see how exactly crazy this is. So I have ChatGPT over here actually. And like I said, it can go from very simple things to very complex things. And of course, when people see how smart this AI is, you can obviously do a very simple thing like, how was your day? And it could give very like, you know, generic stuff. I'm sorry, but I'm a machine learner and don't have the ability to experience days. I mean, the fact that it even went beyond that, it's crazy, right? It had the self-awareness to say, sorry, I'm a machine. So if I instead say, describe a day at the beach, here we go. Here's somebody, or at least the AI, describing a nice day at the beach with gentle waves crashing into the shore. With such description as well. Gentle waves crashing into the shore. Now, of course, everybody in their first mind would probably think, if you're a student, you think, I can do so much with this. I can have this do all my homework. And yes, it probably can. For example, you can probably have it write a book review. All those reviews that you have to do in high school, English literature, I wish I would have done the same as well. One of the books I had to read was The Great Gatsby. So imagine if I could just save all of that time and just ask this AI to write a short summary. Look at that. I didn't even have to specify anything else. Just The Great Gatsby, and it knows. It's a novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It tells the story of J. Gatsby, a wealthy man who throws lavish parties in an attempt. Look at that. It's great. So obviously this is a very just an overview. It's probably just picked up the blurb from somewhere and wrote that out. But let's see if we can get a bit deeper than that. But remember, this is all about conversational. It's not just instruction. So technically speaking, you have to treat this like a human person and say, what type of themes are in this book? And again, you don't have to specify The Great Gatsby again because it realizes this is in a flowing conversation. And it knows that we're talking about The Great Gatsby still. And here you can see one of the things it says, it touches on the social issues of social class. So if we then say, oh, okay, well, explain more about that. You can ask it to explain more about the social class issue. And then boom, we have more information. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Like if one of your tasks for an assignment was to write a review on The Great Gatsby and its themes, you could literally just take this first introduction here, which, you know, most essays always start off with a good introduction telling you about the book itself. And then you talk about the overarching themes, and then you dive into one of the specific themes and talk about how it affects stuff like that. You could probably then go into more detail about the 1920s, what it was like then and stuff like that. It's crazy. I can't be the only one that thinks this is like wild, right? But of course, again, this is pretty cool. But what blew me away was in that little description of the chatbot, they talked about being able to debug code or even to handle complex math. So yes, when people think of, oh, I want AI to do my homework for me, obviously the big thing that people think of is for writing essays because it's long and lengthy. But when it comes to difficult things that people wish they could have AI do, I'm sure we all can think of math, right? So just as a little sandbox problem, I'm going to give it a very, very simple question, which I'm pretty sure it should be able to solve. So if I ask it, given the equation, I'm not sure if this is as a nicer equation where we'll get nice answers, but this is a very standard formula known as the quadratic equation. You have an x squared, an x, and then a constant number. So let's see if we can solve for x. Will it understand the math notation of writing that little upwards bracket or upwards arrow? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! It knows about it! It's gonna put it all so we get all of it equal to 0. Oh my goodness! No way! No way! No way! No way! No way! No way! Is it actually gonna solve this? It isolates x term. There's no way. Don't tell me it's going to use the actual quadratic equation. That's the I think it might actually be the quadratic equation. No way. Okay, well, to be fair, I think this is a little bit broken because instead of giving us an actual value, it gives us these weird equations here. But I mean, here's the thing though. Even if the values themselves are a bit weird because maybe the equation I gave it is a bit funky, the fact that it does all of these steps, this is like what you would see from Wolfram Alpha. In fact, let's have a look and see quickly. Like if we were to get this a bit of a nicer equation that has proper roots, it'll probably do the exact same thing. But if it can actually figure out, instead of just writing out the notation for the values, and it actually gives us the solid answers, that'd be crazy. So it's going to do the exact same thing again where it puts equations to the side. Okay, so unfortunately, it looks like it can't handle quadratic equations because maybe it's a bit too complex for the machine learning model. For what it's worth, this question here should have given us an answer of either -3 or 5 according to Wolfram Alpha. But out of curiosity, maybe that was supposed to be one of the simpler early math questions. I'm just curious how it would handle some of my questions that I had to do during undergraduate. So one of the modules I had to do was something called thermodynamics. And we'll see if this can handle one of these questions because they are quite lengthy and they are quite complex. So this is one of the tutorial questions I had to do where it was about a compressor. And it has a bunch of different variables about the pressure, the temperature and stuff like that. And essentially the question asks to identify the isentropic efficiency of the compressor, which I honestly don't even remember what that is. So let's see if the chatbot can figure that out. Normally what I would have done a couple of years ago was I would have taken this, which was the question itself, and copy pasted this exactly into Google. And more often than not, you would get an answer coming from websites like Chegg, which you'll find the exact right question, but the answers are always locked behind paywalls. So let's see if this can sort of work around that. I don't really have high hopes, but it would be crazy if it at least gets some of it right. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to browse the internet or access any external information. Probably because stuff like that is available on Chegg, but it is behind a paywall. So unfortunately, chatbot can't get beyond that. But I think the biggest draw was the idea of it being able to code, right? So for example, if you ask it, I'm pretty sure most people that know coding would know this. So if I ask it to write the hello world, it should be able to very simply just say print hello world. See, look at that. It even allows us to copy the code straight. And it even gives us an instruction more about how to run the code itself. Also, it even comments its code, which makes it already miles better than what I do when I code. But here's the thing though. This is really, really cool for people that are new to coding. Not only does it, tell you exactly line for line what to do with nice comments, it also tells you how, like, some more external stuff, like how to run it and stuff like that, which is crazy, right? I've recently been interested in learning some more stuff with coding that I would have wanted to do, but I always thought it would be an issue because, one, you have to scour through all these different tutorials and sometimes they might not explain it as well. But here's the thing. This AI, what it essentially does is it is trained on, like you said earlier, or it said earlier, multiple different inputs across the internet. So if I ask it to print out hello world, it doesn't just look at one tutorial. It's essentially a conglomeration of thousands and thousands of different tutorials online about hello world. And it analyzes them and makes it all into one concise thing that overarches all of them, which is not so dissimilar from what people do in real life, right? Very rarely you'll find a tutorial the first time and tells you everything you need. Oftentimes you'll have to look at like 5 different tutorials and only afterwards do you realize, oh, now I understand. With all of those 5 tutorials in mind, I now have a better understanding. That's essentially what this AI does. So as an example, I am going to try out something new. I'm going to try and recreate those ASCII arts that you always see at the top of like game FAQs, where essentially you have a picture typed out entirely with different characters like dots, hashtags, or pound signs rather, forward slashes, @ symbols and all that stuff, which I've never done before, which I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be like some libraries and stuff like that, but I'm going to ask this chat AI here as if I've never done this before, never coded ever in my life. I want to learn how do I convert an image into ASCII art in Python. Now, if I had to see, there's probably going to be like some very, very specific library that is already designed to do stuff like this, but I want to see if this chatbot would be able to teach me how to do it from scratch. As you can see there, we already have a pillow library. So again, I'm assuming that there's some tutorials out there online that just tell you how to do this, and it just reads those itself and conglomerates them here. But again, look at this. Look at how nice this codes. It has comments. It has spaces between your stuff. It has proper labeling of variables. This is crazy. It can write 4 statements. This is crazy. And then it even, again, it explains the code itself. So even if you're brand new, you can look at this and go, oh, I don't know what any of this means. And then it explains it right here. The code uses the image class from the Willow library. So here's the interesting thing. I'm going to be doing this in a Google Colab notebook, which is essentially an online cloud version where you can do some coding. And normally they don't have some of these very hyper-specific libraries like image. So if I were to do this over in Colab and copy this code, if I were to just copy this straight here, technically speaking, this shouldn't run because it's probably not going to realize this here. And also I need to upload an image quickly. And surprisingly enough, I'm surprised that I think this image this PIL image is a library that is already installed in Colab. But okay, well, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this library to not be here. So if you were to do this on a local machine, it would probably not have any of these default libraries installed. So I'm going to assume that in a scenario you would not have this library. The issue we got was that we didn't have an image uploaded. Let's say that we were trying to do this ourselves and we say, oh, I need to install the Pillow library. How do I do that? This might be a very common mistake that you would have, and you don't have the correct dependencies installed. So let's see, will it teach us how to install these libraries? Yeah, it's doing it. It's teaching us how to do it. Teaching us how to use pip install. That's crazy. This is actually crazy. Like if you were to do this yourself, inputting this command would actually install this so that it would allow you to do this line of code here. That's crazy. All right, so let's go back to our notebook though and see if we can get that working. So again, this is entirely the copy-pasted code. None of this I edited myself. And let's see if this works. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, hang on. So it ran. The code ran with no mistakes. If I scroll down and I see a picture of Tom from Tom and Jerry looking around a corner slyly in ASCII art, I'm gonna flip my shit. So maybe it was a bit too good to be true. It printed it out, but it was all in one line. So let's see. Again, that's just another issue that we can check with the chatbot. Let's see if it'll figure out a way to solve that. Oh my goodness. I didn't even mention ASCII art. I just said that the output is all funky, and it knew that we're still talking about the ASCII art. That's crazy. Okay, so it looks like it's essentially rewriting that first initial code, but now with some extra additions to make the art more readable, where it adds a line break after each row of characters. And here's the thing as well now, incrementing the current row. Right, well, let's just yoink this code and replace that in our notebook and see what happens. Once again, it runs. I'm going to scroll down and let's have a look and see. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the squishing didn't really help. The resizing sort of squashed the image together. I will say, the image that I wanted to do, or the original image that I wanted to convert to art was this. So, I mean, you can kind of see the similarities, but I think the issue was the resizing was a bit of an issue. So again, instead of doing it manually, I could just like, backspace out the properties for the resizing. What if I just asked the chatbot to do it myself? You can see here, here's the thing. This is the importance of reading the code instead of just copying it. You can also adjust the width and height of the image to change the size of the art, as well as the characters that are used to create the art. But, I mean, still though, the fact that this all works, like, this is just a matter of getting the nitty-gritty down, right? But I mean, I'm sure you can understand why I'm so crazy about how cool this is, right? Like, this can teach people how to code themselves, and it's crazy. You can come up to this and ask it anything, and it can give you at least a very basic starting point of how to do crazy stuff. Like, for example, if I asked it, one of the possible things I had to do was use this here. This was literally one of the tasks I would have had to do, using OpenCV to detect images or edges in an image. And let's see if the chatbot can write a code for that as well. My goodness, it can even link you to external websites for certain packages. This is crazy. Again, I'm sure this is just pulling instructions from some tutorial websites, but still, the fact that it can find those, this is going to this could essentially replace Google. Like, if I were to use this copy paste or use this exact phrase here, like, there's a whole bunch of things here. How do I know which one to choose? How do I know which one is the correct tutorial? How do I know which one's going to give me a good actual Python code. Whereas here, it just tells it all for me. It does all the searching and it just says, oh, here's how you can do it. This is crazy. And I'm so sad that, I mean, obviously this is great that we have it for free, but this is only free for the review period. I don't know how long this review period is, but my goodness. Even down to the stuff like the reviews. Like, you can have it write a movie review for stuff that haven't come out yet, right? Like, write a movie review for the Super Mario movie. Would it know that the Super Mario movie hasn't even come out yet? Or would it still write a review? Or would it like write a review knowing that it is going to come out? Oh yeah, see again. My training only goes up to, it's like it knows. My training only goes up to 2021. It knows that the Super Mario movie hasn't come out yet. It even helps you about how to actually write a review. So instead, hang on, let's see if we can give it, like, this is probably giving it an outline of how it would write a movie review for anything else. So like, even if we go beyond students trying to cheat out their homework, right? This could be used for, in a sense, commercial-ish purposes. Like, what if you have YouTubers that, you know, video game reviewers have, you know, or journalists rather, write a video essay on the game Elden Ring. If this works, video game journalists are gonna be shaking in their boots. Because this could replace them. But again, though, I assume if it does write an essay, it probably is based on those game journalist reviews, but still though. That is crazy. Oh my, no way. No way. This reads like an actual review you would read from like IGN or GameSpot or something like that. It's even praising stuff like it's an open world environment. That's crazy. Is it gonna bring up like the bosses and stuff like that, I wonder? Oh no, it's bringing up combat system. Don't be surprised if my next, like, what, 50 or 100 videos are all coming out in, like, the next 2 months or so, and they all span very similar reviewish style essays that seem dangerously like they were written by AI. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight the way in which this is improving so much. Like, again, OpenAI, the research team behind both DALL-E and this ChatGPT, they only started in 2015, 7 years ago. So in 7 years, we have AI that can make incredible images or have lengthy, in-depth discussions in such a short amount of time. That's crazy, right? I am incredibly excited and very scared about how this can go forward in the future. It took us 7 years to get here. Imagine what another 7 could do. But yeah, until next time, bye-bye.